The Sixth Sense from 1999, so
Oh,
one year
shit.
after
Yeah,
Wide
yeah,
Awake.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He got busy with 3 movies in back-to-back years. So The Sixth Sense.
Unbreakable as well.
This one, I mean, I'm basically positive we've all seen this one, but I'll let someone else take it away since I've been talking a ton. So I'm gonna get out with Seth. Seth, tell us your thoughts on Sixth Sense.
Yeah, I think Sixth Sense is good. I remember this being kind of my favorite for a long while. I think this is kind of one of his most accessible films in terms of his pretty much kind of generic thriller horror. I think Bruce Willis is great. When I watched it again, I think I watched it again like a year ago for the first time in a few years. It doesn't quite have the same impact emotionally as some of his other films. Mainly for me, his 2 films that came after this, Unbreakable and Signs, which obviously we'll speak about. But I don't know, I think Sixth Sense is really good. I think I would assume it's mostly like his most seen as his best by the general audience, I think, anyway.
It's his highest rated on Letterboxd with a 4.0.
It's still his highest rated on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. But yeah, I really like it. I think it's good. I think it's solid. A good piece of storytelling. It obviously has the twist that made him so famous around that time and really propelled him into Hollywood. But I still think it's very good, but it's kind of slipped down my rankings the more I've watched it over time, because now I appreciate more of his emotionally intricate works, like his following 2 films. But I still think it's good. I still have it rated a 4 out of 5 anyway, so still really high.
I think that The Sixth Sense is, I think you can kind of, I think that you can kind of break M. Night into like eras, and I think The Sixth Sense is kind of like the beginning of like the golden era in the general public's eye of like, this guy is like the next Steven Spielberg is like kind of what people were talking about. And I think it's like, then his like starting with The Sixth Sense, like his next 4 movies are like when he is like the highest public opinion.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, Sixth Sense, I just watched it for the first time a couple days ago, which is, I was really impressed with it purely because it's almost like I compared it to this in my Letterboxd review of like the Darth Vader being Luke Skywalker's father, where it's like pretty much everyone, even if you haven't seen the movie, knows like the twist at this point. It's just so ingrained into pop culture that everyone kind of knows the Sixth Sense twist. So knowing that going into it, I still like was very impressed with how much I enjoyed it, because a lot of times if you know the big reveal of a movie, you can kind of go into it and be like, it kind of lost some of its gravity or its weight. But I truly came away with it really enjoying it. I thought like Haley Joel Osment, I thought was kind of like the standout for me. Honestly, I thought he was like super great as a kid actor.
That's an all-time child performance.
Yeah, all-time.
He's great in AI as well. I think he's even better in AI.
Do you like AI, Aaron? I thought you wouldn't.
It's my favorite Spielberg film.
You're not a big Spielberg fan, are you?
But yeah, I don't love it either. This Sixth Sense is second to last on my M. Night ranking, and I still like it. For me, this is M. Night at his most conventional. I think this is M. Night showing that, hey, I can make a really good movie in the most conventionally way possible. I think he really changed. Like, that twist is really big and popular, but I think the movie is very conventional. And I think he's like, basically, it's like a painter showing that he can do realism and that he can make a painting look real. He is showing that he is a good filmmaker here. And I think it is a good movie. It's just like one of the more least interesting movies for me. But I think it is still really good.
It's one for the general audience. There's not really many risks he took.
Yeah,
with the general audience.
He's a young filmmaker. He's trying to be like, I can do
I can do it.
Yeah, I can do it. And he's showing that he can do it. So therefore, he can take more risks in the future. And the more risks he's taking in the future are more interesting to me. But I still think this is really good. I remember seeing this like very young and leaving an impression on me. But now it's not my favorite, but I still really like it. Like, I like all these films. Actually, it's third to last, I think.
Do we want to cover as well, like when we go over them, do we want to cover where they actually land in our rankings as well?
Yeah, sure. You can touch on that.
Sixth Sense, I think, is like 4th or 5th for me. It's 4th. It's 4th for me. So it's still really high. High.
Yeah, I actually have it at tied for 1 right now with Unbreakable, but I haven't seen a couple of his films still. So I don't know where it'll ultimately end up, but I really enjoyed it. But it was only on first watch for me, whereas a couple of these I've seen a couple times. So I'll be really interested to see how this lands when I revisit it. George, where does Sixth Sense land for you?
Yeah, it's my third highest ranked M. Night movie, but my top 5 are all 3.5 out of 5s. So it's really...
That's nasty work. I'm not gonna lie.
Listen, you knew this.
You expected this.
You knew this going into this podcast that I'm not a big M. Night fan, but I do. I love the Sixth Sense, or I won't say love. I really like the Sixth Sense for kind of the reasons that Owen says he disliked them. At this point in his career, M. Night has obviously taken a ton of risks, and it's no secret that they don't necessarily work for me. So I like The Sixth Sense, that this is just him kind of appealing to a massive general audience in terms of his storytelling. He's not trying to, give you something like A Knock at the Cabin or an Old, where he's just not giving you any information. He's very much holding your hand throughout The Sixth Sense as a storyteller, and given the risks that this man has taken throughout his career, I kind of appreciate the fact that this feels like his most tame outing of all of his filmography, right there with like a Split. So yeah, this is my third highest ranked, but it's all of my top 5, like I said, are all 3.5 out of 5s.
The Sixth Sense is like super famous for the plot twist, and I think The Sixth Sense is such like a famous movie that it kind of like made M. Night's whole identity be like the plot twist guy, even though he's not.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about you guys about that, like what you think about the obviously like the Shyamalan twist. I think we had a Twitter discourse about this like a month or two ago where I said like Shyamalan's one of the only like household names purely because of the Shyamalan twist, that like everyone knows him, even if you don't know like M. Night's even his first name, but they're like, oh, Shyamalan twist, or beginning of his name. But I was kind of gonna ask you guys, do you think it boxed him in to where like he forced twists in his upcoming films because he was like that guy, or do you think he just truly loves
I think there's only 2 movies M. Night was ever forced to make, and they're both movies you guys don't like. I think it's like Last Airbender and After Earth are the only movies. Every other movie he had like complete full creative control, like he only made because he thought it was a really good movie.
Well,
and
Wide Awake, but I mean,
other than Wide Awake, those don't count.
Wide Awake isn't really forced; it's more of like, I gotta make money.
He has to make a living. Yeah.
Would you consider like Wide Awake to be like Fincher's Alien 3, for example? That kind of, or Lynch's Dune?
Owen likes Alien 3.
Yeah, Owen loves Alien 3.
I would see it as like a more like a lesser thing than that even.
Okay, Lynch's Dune then for me would be
not
like
even that. I think it's just like, I don't even know what I would compare it to because it's just such
it's
a low concept.
It's like a Disney Channel movie that
I would say it's like Craig Mazin's Superheroes. The Superheroes.
I don't even know what that is.
No,
That's actually that probably makes it a good comparison.
I think like what Kevin said is like, if someone was tasked to make like a High School Musical movie, like the first one, the guy who made the first High School Musical movie, and then he went on to make like an Oscar winning movie, that's how we would talk about the High School Musical movie. Like it's just a for hire, like, for kids movie.
A little disrespectful to High School Musical, but that's okay.
I'm not talking about equality though. I'm talking about like who's it for, the budget, and it's just a random kids movie that he made to get money.
Yeah, he needed to put food on his table.
It's like, it's not really like a Dune thing where it's like this, book, and he's got big ideas, and it's really just him. Taking a job.
Like, Dune's interesting too because it's like because Lynch also like picked Dune out of a hat, because Lynch was like, oh yeah, I don't want to make fucking Return of the Jedi, I want to go direct Dune.
At this point in M. Night's career, after The Sixth Sense, this was the second highest grossing film of 1999, just behind Star Wars, so obviously you're not going to top that, but almost $700 million at the box office. So obviously after this, he very much so became a director
so much money. That's
that
crazy.
everyone
That's crazy. I didn't realize
everyone had on their radar after The Sixth Sense.